The same exact fitness coaching offer, as an example, can be sold for $200 or $20,000, and it all depends on who the offer is pointed at. One of the most important variables yet understated out here on YouTube is to leverage making new avatars in order to scale your offer. Now, most people spend their time testing new creatives, funnel types, targeting, but none of this will actually be as impactful as trying out new avatars. So stick around until the end of this video because I'll show you the 2 different moves you can make with your existing customer avatars that might unlock this next level in revenue that you've been missing out on with your Facebook ads. If you're new to the channel, you don't yet know who I am. My name is Lalonde, and I'm the founder at bitadvertising.com, where we've profitably spent and invested over $20 million USD in paid ad spend in the last 12 months on the behalf of our clients. And let's get straight into today's video. Now, first of all, anytime I think about an ad, an ad can be divided, and you might already know this, but into several components. You will have the desire, which is going to be the main sort of angle or whatnot you're going to take from this ad. You're going to have the sophistication of the market. You're going to have the awareness of the messaging, but then you also have the avatar or persona, which naturally will impact anything else below it, meaning different avatars will mean different awareness levels or will impact market sophistication or impact also the desires that you're going to want to play with. But where a lot of people do go wrong is they see the avatar as static, and it is not something that I personally consider as a variable that you shouldn't change. In fact, I would even advise that you test actively new personas and avatars, as this might be the thing that once again unlocks more revenue through your ads. So we'll detail why that works and how this has worked for clients of ours at the agency. So first of all, I'm going to start making a new column right here. Avatar, it sets the economics, Meaning, if I'm advertising to and again, we're going to take back, for the sake of today's video, we're just going to take back a fitness coaching offer, This is just going to be the example of today's video. So I'm just going to go example right here, So avatar sets the economics. If you are targeting single moms with 2 child that are below 5 as an example, it might be hard. This might be an avatar that is struggling a little more perhaps financially. So having said that, if you were trying to help them out with their fitness, no matter how much willpower they have, this avatar is an example, and we're just going to write those down right here as examples. But if we go single moms, 2 kids below the age of 5 years old, this avatar might be able to afford, as an example, a product that is anywhere from $200 to maybe $1,000, right? $1,000 if you're lucky. But then, as an example, if you go right here, well, I'm going to target entrepreneurs who make over $150,000 per year. Now, that new avatar for the same exact offer already unlocks a much higher buying power. Now, you can realistically ask an avatar like this to most likely spend anywhere between $3,000 to perhaps $10,000 to invest in their own personal development. And funnily enough, this is actually an example right here of a company called Suprahuman, which I invite you to look at. The founder's name is John Matson, and he does post quite a bit of content on his Instagram nowadays. He recently did a podcast on YouTube with Cole Gordon, which is where I actually first heard of him, and pushed me to kind of look into his funnels and the way he was running his offers. And it's very interesting because he's known for being one of the first person to actually change the barrier, if you want, for how much you can actually realistically charge on a B2C offer that is not financially related, meaning you don't promise a financial gain like trading offers or crypto offers or real estate offers would. Here you just help someone just enhance their physical appearance, take care of their health and their body. And they have a $10,000 offer. And even he was speaking on that podcast that they've now started to launch other back-end offers that can really increase the lifetime value of their customers beyond this $10,000 range. So if we go into the first move right here that I want to speak about in this video, this first move is going to be to trade up the avatar. I've kind of already started to detail what that looks like, but as an example, this would mean going from single moms, if that's who you're currently targeting as an example, to going to, entrepreneurs, with already there, you're going up in avatar, therefore it unlocks more money, therefore means you can actually sell at a higher price, which usually helps you absorb higher CPMs, lower click-through rates. Like you can do worse with your marketing just because now you're making more money out of each customer for, again, the same exact deliverables, technically just aimed at a different avatar. A lot of people would say, you know what, like Justin, it's not because these guys make money that, you know, if a pair of eyeglasses is worth $10, that they suddenly want to spend $1,000. Not everyone will want to. Like some people will still always see things for its price and be unwilling to trade up the price that they've been used to paying when they were a lower avatar, if that makes sense. Like nobody was born an entrepreneur. You know, they might have been a 9-to-5 worker. They got used to spending a certain amount and now they're unwilling to increase their spending to a higher amount. But there's several people. And in fact, most people, I'd be willing to say here, are usually willing to trade up for a sense of higher quality or prestige or luxuriousness that often we associate mentally with a higher price tag. And typically, the more people pay, the more they pay attention. So usually by trading up the avatar, you get a better customer, which usually means better client results, which actually means it's easier for you to market this product because it creates a cycle. So again, if we put that here into a drawing, it's higher price means better clients as they're more invested, which usually means better results, which actually allows you to then raise prices again. And you're now in a positive sort of like virtuous cycle of business by having traded up your avatar. Now be very careful because something that people often do is they'll like just change the avatar and they'll, going back to my drawing from earlier, they'll completely disregard the fact that like if you change this variable, it'll often impact this. Like different avatars have different desires, sophistications, and awareness levels. And I'll get back to that a little bit in a few minutes. The second move that you can also make as any business with any offer for that matter is going to be to stack avatars. So I'll use right here the example of one of our clients, and there's going to be a video featured out here somewhere for you to click on, which I have a separate case study video about it, how we help them add $300,000 in monthly revenue to their business. They were doing 1.5 million per month. We helped them get up to 1.8 million per month with their info products sort of coaching offer in the crypto market in Canada. So historically, if you go back right here, this crypto offer, the persona or avatar was typically, historically, men in their early 30s all the way to, we'd say, 50s. And that was because the owner of that business was actually in his early 30s. So putting him on the ads would usually attract a similar individual, if you'd want, inside of the funnel. And what we've also noticed is that when using his Ferrari or more flexing in ads, this attracted now a younger male audience. So we'd had men that were like 18 to 24, not a lot of money, and it was harder to close them. That's also what you got to be careful of. The props used in your ads, the setting in which you record an ad, is the words that you use in the ad can all actually cause Meta's algorithm to go ahead and lock in on a specific audience that you may or may not want to attract necessarily. But besides the point, one of the core things that we implemented inside of this ad account that allowed us to unlock this $300,000 in extra monthly revenue was targeting women. So believe it or not, we would typically see that roughly on this account, 30 to 40% of ad spend on some campaigns was women. But there was no ads nor any VSLs or any funnel that specifically was designed to speak to women. So what we ended up doing is hiring a woman UGC creator, so hire UGC woman, and then also ask a team member to shoot a new VSL. And that team member was a woman, right? Someone from our client's team that was knowledgeable enough to be able to speak comfortably about crypto in front of a camera, but that was once again a woman. So when launching our same exact best currently winning funnel, which was done by a man, now recorded same exact VSL by a woman who was again part of their team, and then adding UGC ads that were made by a woman, our cost per lead, and you'll be able to see that if you check out the video I mentioned earlier, but the cost per lead here dropped from roughly $50 to $60 all the way down to, believe it or not, about $10 to $20. Just because we ended up targeting a separate avatar. And so we didn't stop advertising to men. We didn't kill our existing performing funnels. We just ended up launching a separate campaign targeting women specifically, meaning in the messaging more than the actual like ad set targeting, the targeting level on Meta. It was purely in our creatives. And that ended up unlocking a whole extra growth curve for this business because they had yet to tap into it. So that's what I mean by stacking avatars. You start adding different avatars. It could also be, it doesn't have to be just different genders. It could mean that, going back to my example from earlier, if you're targeting, as an example, single moms, well, you could start targeting single dads. Or going back to single moms, you could target single moms that are with kids below the age of 5, or single moms that are with kids that are teens, or single moms with young adults. And already there you could have different specific demographics, or it could just be moms, right? Young moms, or women who are pregnant. And already there, you start unlocking a lot of different avatars. Like pregnant women want different things in fitness than non-pregnant women. Now, postpartum women want different things than non-postpartum women. Single moms, right? Single women will want different things than than single moms would, because they don't have kids. So having said that, this unlocks completely new sets of desires, as I was mentioning earlier, and therefore allows you to start stacking those avatars. Now, something else I do want to address that I said I was going to get back to earlier is like the same offer, right, equals different render per avatar. Like as an example, going back to fitness coaching, I could say young dad who, as an example, has now a dad bod, wants to get strong to protect his wife and kids. And I could go on, about what this guy's life looks like. And I could say young mom, which this would be, postpartum body, lost confidence, doesn't feel as good as she used to, and so on and so forth. Arguably very similar persona, meaning we're targeting young parents, but young parents would want different things based on the gender. Like young moms, if I was to shoot ads and adapt my coaching offer, I would have to show them, the steps to regain confidence, show them how they can trust that we understand what it means to have lost a body that you once had, and how to build back through that and learn to love this new body that will probably never look the way it used to, but perhaps it'll be different, but a good different. And I'll have to adapt, yes, the ads, but most likely what's said in the VSL, and probably what's also said on the sales calls, and definitely what's also said with the customer success managers once this person gets onboarded. But from working with dads, dads won't recognize themselves in that message. It's not that they've lost their body, it's that they've let themselves go. They've become soft. They need to become manly again. They felt like they need to regain, this masculine edge. They want to feel like they can protect and provide for their family. Completely different ad messaging, funnel, probably what's said on the sales call, and again, what's said through the actual coaching in the back end with the CSMs. So the same offer through different avatars completely changes the way it is expressed through the ads, the funnel, the sales mechanism, as well as usually the delivery mechanism. So one funnel usually is the ads, the landing page, the sales, and the delivery, okay? The entire funnel should always speak to one avatar. Always. You don't want to go too generic, because once again, if I tried to advertise to young parents, it would work, but I would have to go very particular typically for me to get the best results. So if I don't want to get stuck with average results and I stop using things like young parents and I go young moms or young dads, and I could even get more granular. But again, I think you've understood the point. And now my advice is to actually honestly ask yourself, if you go through your ad account, how many avatars are you currently speaking to in your ads? Are there more avatars you could try to speak to in your market that would also be interested in your products? Have you tried to go up market with a better avatar? Have you perhaps tried to stack different avatars through different campaigns? If not, strongly advise you to try doing that tonight. If you made it this far and you want to work one-on-one with me to have me review your paid ads, funnels, offers, name it, check out the first link in the description below to join my ad engine one-on-one inner circle today. And having said that, if you instead want my team and I to run all of your paid ads completely done for you, then also check out the link in the description below to book in a call with myself and the team at paidadvertising.com today. So I wish you an amazing day. Do check out more videos on the channel for some more useful marketing tips, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.